everybody. It's your 5-star realtor, Joshua Ingram, partnered with Hayes Properties Team Brokers by EXP. Listen, it's a brand new episode with the Dream Builders Podcast. We have a special guest, Maria Genualdi with Summit Funding. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Thank you for having
I
me.
cannot forget my co-host, the man of the hour, Bradford Page with Page Properties Team.
All right. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So, our topic today is about commercial lending. So, what is the difference between residential and commercial?
Sure. So let's start with residential lending. That's what most people are familiar with, and it's going to be your single property, single family homes, and it can go up to 4 units. So that includes your duplexes, your tris, and your quads. Commercial lending, typically most people think of businesses, so retail space, warehouses, industrial. But it also has a residential component to it. So if you have a property that has 5 units or more, let's say you've got a row of apartments, like 6, 8, 10, that would be commercial. And then also if you own investment property and you own 10 mortgages already, that 11th mortgage is automatically going to be commercial property.
That's crazy.
As well.
Okay, you got to run that back. So if you have 10 or more investment property.
Property 11 must go commercial.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, okay. So where do I get a commercial loan from?
There's a few places that you can go. So the obvious one is your local bank. Banks are a great place to start because you have an established relationship with them and they know you. A couple things that we want to think about with a bank are they may have some limits. And also with bankers, the other thing is you're going to be personally responsible for this. Even though it is a commercial loan, it is attached to a business, you're going to have to make a personal guarantee. So if for some reason you're not able to pay on it, you are going to have to pay on it on the back and they will come after you personally for it.
Okay.
There's also brokers like myself. So as a lender, as a broker, what we do is we take your initial application, we gather all of your documents, and then what we do is we find the banks for you. So I have, probably close to 100 different bankers that I can look at. So rather than you walking into one office one at a time or trying to find things that are outside of your local area, I can shop your loan package around for you.
That's awesome. Okay, so I have a question. So let's go back to what we just talked about. So you said 11th, well, if I was an investor and I had the 11th property to go commercial, what about the 5 units and plus? Can you restate that
Sure.
with commercial?
Yeah.
What is that, like a storage unit?
No, it can be, so housing. So let's think of a duplex. A duplex
Okay.
is 2 units,
Yes.
a triplex is 3, and then you
Okay.
have a quad, which is 4. So if you purchase a building that has 5 or more properties in it, so like, a small apartment, you'll see them a lot where they have like little apartment things where they'll have like 12 units.
Yeah.
That is now commercial as soon as you hit that 5th unit.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's good for investors because if you go commercial, I think the dollar signs are a little different, wouldn't it be?
The dollar signs are different all around for a commercial loan.
Yes.
There's a bunch of differences.
So, Maria, so I have a listing that is residential land and I can build duplexes on it. So what are the steps for me to get that rezoned for commercial?
So if you're looking to build homes on there, what you'll have to do is not only get it rezoned commercial, but there's a specific designation for multi-family unit.
Okay.
So that is where we're talking about the 5 units plus.
Yes. Okay. So that's where the 5 units plus when it comes to commercial lending.
Correct.
That's perfect. So I have a question. What do lenders look for?
Sure. So there's a little bit different than when we look at residential lending. So residential, we're looking for personal information, right? We're looking for your personal credit score. We're looking for your personal income, assets, debts, and we're looking for a personal guarantee, right? You sign the name on the dotted line. If for some reason you foreclose on the property, you are personally responsible.
Yeah.
In a commercial loan, it's a little bit different. The first thing that we're looking for is the debt service ratio. So what that means is we're looking at how much money can this property generate. So we're going to be looking at the overall income of the business, and after you have paid all of the business expenses, so that's like the utilities, your payroll, all of your overhead to keep you open, what is the final profit?
Okay.
And that profit they're going to compare to your mortgage. And so what they like to see is a 1 to 1.25 ratio, meaning your mortgage is considered 1 And so your profit has to be 1.25% of that or equal to that. So like easy numbers, $1,000 mortgage, that ratio must be at least $1,250 of profit. So that's the first thing they look for. The second thing they're going to look at is your experience in the business. So if, for instance, you're purchasing a hotel, what is your experience in the hotel industry? Did you manage a property? Did you build a property before? Are we just waking up one day and said, I want to be a hotel owner?
Yeah.
So we're going to look at that. And then we're still going to look at your personal information because at the end of the day, unless you are big, huge, one of these multi-billion-dollar companies, you're still going to need to put a personal guarantee down. As a small business owner or as a first-time commercial loan, you're still going to have to sign your name on the dotted line as well.
So what is the usual down payment for a commercial?
Yeah, down payment is very, very different in commercial lending than residential lending. So on a residential property, you can get something somewhere between 3 to 5% depending on the loan program. There's also 0% down. There is no 0% down on a commercial loan. On average, you're looking somewhere between 20 and 30, and sometimes it goes in upwards of 40 to 45%. And that goes back to that debt service ratio. The higher your debt service ratio is, the lower you can put down, but you're still looking at a minimum of 20 to 30%.
Okay, that's awesome. So how long does it take to close on a commercial property?
So it's a little bit different. So usually when you go under a contract for a residential loan, you can close within 30 days, sometimes a shorter time span. With a commercial loan, it's going to be at least a minimum of 45 to 60 days. We're reviewing a lot more information, right? We're reviewing your personal assets, but we're also reviewing the financials of the business that you're trying to purchase or the one that you're trying to open. So we need to know, is this a failing business? And if it's failing, why is it failing? And if it's failing, why are you buying a failing business? Versus if it's something that is really thriving, what are the financials? Can you meet that debt service ratio requirement? So it takes a little bit longer to review those documents.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. So with a loan, are the rates different than residential?
Yes. So it really depends on where your loan comes from. Sometimes they are higher, sometimes they are lower. It also depends on what type of loan you set up. So typically, most houses have a 30-year fix. That's the most common loan program, right? Your payment is exactly the same for 30 years. You know exactly what your principal and interest payments are each month. On a commercial loan, it's a little bit different. So they are usually done in 5, 7, and 10-year payments. And what they are, you can either do an adjustable rate ARM or you can do an interest-only payment. However, there's a big but here. We amortize your payments over 30 years. So what that means is we figure out your principal and interest payment over 30 years, but you actually have to condense that and pay it within that 5, 7, or 10-year payment plan. And what that means is at the end of your term, you're going to have a balloon payment.
Oh, okay.
So you need to pre-plan for that. So what happens is either you pay the balloon payment or you'll need to refinance that loan into a different structure.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's awesome. You got any questions for Miss Maria today?
Well, actually, no. I'm dumbfounded. She's really kind of hit it all here. So commercial, so LLCs, S corps, stuff like that, they still, based upon experience in the business, could be still a personal guarantee then, correct?
Yes, so they're still going to be looking for your experience. And at this point, it may be you have some other people that have been brought in, right? So let's say you are a builder, but you don't know how to manage the property. So you're bringing on a partner to manage it. Also, during underwriting, that can be a condition for your loan requirement that says, hey, you're great at building, but you need to bring on a professional management company. So the first thing I think of is an apartment complex. Let's say you guys are great builders, you've built 100 complexes, but you've never actually owned one and you've never dealt with the day-to-day operations.
Or you've run one and never built them.
Exactly. So what
way.
they'll do is they'll say, hey, you need to bring on somebody who is an expert in that area. Maybe you need to hire a partner, or maybe they may designate that you have to hire a third-party company to run the actual property management company. So there are ways to work around it, but what they'll look at is where is your experience, where are your strengths, and where do we need to fill in, because at the end of the day, this is an investment, and what they really care about is the risk. How risky is this business, and how likely is it that we're going to make our money back from this?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So another question. So a lot of people do buy and sell apartments or businesses, and you mentioned a business that was failing. A lot of people buy at a discount because they're buying a failing business, or they're buying an apartment building that's run down or needs some upgrades. Maybe something as simple as a dog park could add value to that property, and then they turn around and improve the property, put in new appliances, whatever it takes to fix it up, maybe even bring it up to code, God forbid. But they put that money into it with the idea that they'll be able to turn around and sell it for more. So they're pretty open as long as you've got the experience behind you and been able to show a track record, then they're going to have a conversation with you about, oh yeah, we see where the value, the after repair value, so to speak, to put it in residential terms.
Sure, some people get into it and they get in a little over their heads, right? This may be the first apartment complex that they've run. And it was,
or they've let it run down for 30 years.
That's true too, right? So we've got to make some upgrades. So what they're going to look at is, how did we get into this situation? And based on your area of expertise and your experience, how can we get out of this situation? How can we get back into the green? One of the other things they're going to look at is the market at that time. So are we an up and coming neighborhood and we have potential growth, or is this a declining market where if we put in all this money, we're not going to make the investment back? So they are going to take a look at the market analysis as well.
Yeah, I mean, taking apartments with that, apartments right now, the average rent in Savannah is for 900 square feet is at $1,600.
Yeah, 16, yeah.
So if somebody had apartments, there's not a lot of them for sale right now, but certainly a lot of them being built just because of that fact.
Yes.
Because of the performance is so strong.
It is. Apartment rentals are really big in our neighborhood, especially while we have this lack of inventory. It provides an immediate response, an immediate solution to our lack of inventory. And there are some older apartment complexes, like you said, that really just need renovation. They need to be renovated so that they can be brought back up to the market rate. And so we'll see a lot of people come in and overtake those as well.
Well, thank you so much, Maria, for coming on the Dream Builders podcast. How can the viewers get in contact with you?
Yeah, so you can reach me. The easiest way is my cell phone. It's my personal cell phone. I answer it all the time, 910-670-7284. And then I have a local office here in Savannah, 6602 Abercorn. If you're familiar with the Savannah area, we are right by Chuck E. Cheese.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Maria Genualdi with Summit Funding. If you want more information, get in contact with us. And remember that the Dream Builders podcast, our mission is to help buyers, sellers, and agents connect with the resources and knowledge to achieve their real estate goals. This Dream Builders podcast is sponsored by Page Properties Team, TheDream E.N.T, Real Estate for a Reason, and Make Real Estate Fun Again. I'll catch you on the next episode, and be blessed.